Welcome to the Daily Dev Talk with me, Adrian Nantchev, where we explore and share stories of the best game you can. Stay tuned for today's episode. Good morning, Overload Nation. Adrian here, and I'm talking with Carlos and Ignacio. Carlos, Ignacio, tell us about yourselves, please, first.
Hello. We are based in Madrid, Spain, and in October we began developing what is going to be our first title, Horror, in which we attempt, to recover the feelings that the.
And how long have you all worked in the games industry at all? So this is your first interview, for?
No, this is our first title, and before this we had totally different jobs. Architect, and Carlos worked as many things.
I'm a bit of a technician.
I see. So when you say IT technician, you're talking about just the quality assurance?
Basically a help desk and some computer tinkering work also, but
And you both had the idea for a game studio as an off chance, as a labour of love, or something you always really wanted to do?
Since the school, since we were kids, and we always talked about making a video game. Very ambitious at the time, and now when we were up, we became more realistic. We have always dreamt of, and we really wanted to do.
So we thought we were ready, and we have gone all in about it.
Don't start the studio now or do what you want to now. You only regret it, I think, later on in life, because you only have that regret through not taking
for the rest of our lives.
We saw it was the right time to make it, because there was a lot of stuff going. It was hard, and it was difficult to find a job, so it was.
Yeah, so you build your own business instead.
Yeah,
so, it's a viable alternative. So let's talk a little about Song of Horror. You said it's still in early development, so there's no real demo, or certainly not available to the public as of yet.
No, as of yet not. But
one demo will working pretty soon, maybe in 2-3 months' time.
And what you were going for?
The game learns that the old masterpieces of the survival horror genre it begins to differ. I mean, we have played a ton of these games, Silent Hills, The Fatal Frames, and quite a few more. And our big Alone in the Dark, the original, we wanted to recover, that atmosphere, that feeling. We are going for an approach which is not only based on this, but on jump scares. It's not based on, cheap tricks or blood and gore. That we want to focus on tension, on purely atmosphere, the uncertainty of what, the stress that stems from never knowing when or where are you going to find to take approaches. You need to take, reactive approaches too, and of events, and that's why we're going with.
I noticed that there was that permanent death, that mechanic in the game, in the gameplay footage, missing or no longer available, and there was just a shadow of them instead.
Yeah,
and yes, and I think rather unique is that in the house there's all these different ornaments, like the clock, the grandfather clock, or the mask on the wall, that's up what the light can see and breaks up the area in its own way. Rather than just having a corridor, you have obstacles there that breaks up. There's more darkness in areas than there would normally be.
Yeah, indeed. The lights are off, the general lights ones. So I think they provide the sufficient but not very bright
A
illumination.
little illogical was that whenever you turn the light on in one room,
Yep.
you go through the door, you suddenly can't see the light at all. Not even because otherwise someone could go around the house turning on all the lights, and the entire idea of horror will be thrown out the window.
Well, the lights are very in the house, even when you put the switch on. Every light you can, there's still not enough light. And also, as Carlos said, it's the big lamp in the ceiling. It's all small lamps or pieces in the desk or not.
Besides, yeah, you can have many lights on and still senseless with the lights on and than with the lights off most of the time.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Not to tie very much the notion of having the lights on means you're safe. It doesn't.
So that someone could turn the lights on and then suddenly it's not very scary.
Well, yeah, that's one scenario we thought about, and it won't be as illuminated as could be a normal house with all its lights on.
Or isn't it? Is he sent to investigate? And there seems to be a little conflict with, or used to be some conflict with him and his ex-wife. And we see this journal and how Isaac, I think it is, and their daughter went off to London. And what's happening exactly?
Well, the stuff that's in the game, but in the gameplay it's too short. It's a lot of information in a very and his daughter and the people who lived in the house are important characters in the story of the game. I mean, there are 16 characters in the game, playable characters. There are more than 16, but 16 are playable, and that are very different one from another. So it's easy for the player to follow the story, and we think it's like
it's
our main focus,
our strongest, or one of the strongest assets that we have. That it was we made the story, or the only thing we knew is that we wanted to make an old school inspired survival horror, banking on the story. I mean, depending on the story came first, then the game design,
and third person. That's all. Then we made the story, and then we kind of make the mechanics of the game.
Speaking of the story, the first level is in Husher Mansion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where else does the game take us?
That would be, as it is shown in the trailer, there are several chapters. We won't see the number, but one of them, monastery, in an old, Catholic church, I mean. Catholic there.
Yeah, only 2 seconds, but
it is there. It's a Romanic church. And first, the location.
Well,
one chapter will, but it won't be exactly the same place.
Well, we can say it's a tiny spoiler, but the second chapter happens in an.
Yeah, I think it's a store with this antiquities.
Yes, antique store. All right.
There are totally different environments. There are new characters. The story is the same. It's focused on the same characters, but the game will introduce most of the others, or even if you didn't.
Yeah, in each chapter you have a set of characters. Each subsequent chapter will have its own set of characters, and you will carry at least one. In most chapters, you will be able to carry over the survivor. Survivor is available in the next chapter. Depends on the importance of. I mean, there are some characters that are more important, more central to the story than others are, and the more centrals
because they are more
close to Daniel are normally more important to the story than those who aren't.
Yeah. one character from one chapter to the next one. It's only one.
Yeah, not always.
The other imagine you have you only carry one character to the next, but the rest can appear later in the game or can have minor influence. Losing characters won't make the game harder.
Mm-hmm.
You won't have less characters in the next chapter. You lost.
Yeah.
You will always have on each chapter. You will always have the same set, same number. Maybe different chapters, but
Affect the story or the outcome or the end.
Well, not the main story. I mean, it will vary a bit. It will be slightly different.
Not the story itself, only slightly maybe change.
Yeah.
Because you will see it through the eyes of different people. So, for example, in the cutscenes, which might different characters will appear, and they will say different things, maybe do different things. The story is according to which characters are alive and which are dead, and you won't miss. It's part of the experience. Losing characters will happen to almost everyone, ourselves included, and we think it's one of the game's strongest assets.
I can understand. And in this game,
well, we started as early as we could, as early as we had something totally pathetic. We knew the importance of beginning with the marketing process as early as accounts in social networks. We posted our game on several, raise awareness. We put it in, for example, the concept section of Steam Greenlight, and all in all,
we made to have it so people could see things, and it's difficult because we are very small. It's only part time with us, and it's a community around the game. It's really hard to make yourself visible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I simply want to consume and share,
of course,
and talk about a little bit of viral marketing there and a little bit of social cutting up there as immediately as possible, and getting something good delivered.
Yeah, we bit by bit we're showing insights, some blog posts, something. It's important to keep pumping out. Don't want to maybe overdo it, but it's important that you have a steady stream of stuff to
an impact. I think it's really important.
Oh yes, I agree, because it's something of the interaction with the community.
Yeah.
Rather than you showing them things, you now say, "Here, play this." Yeah.
They were. Oh.
You get an ideas and new things to come up with, or this doesn't work as well as I thought, or that works better.
User feedback is very, very important. It's crucial.
Yeah, and very invaluable.
Make a good game.
While working on the game.
A ton. I think
everything that
newbies, and we are still newbies, but at least we are more knowledgeable newbies now. We've been in development.
Yeah, I was thinking that sums it up. It's like if you want to do something, and you're not sure how it's wrong, then redo it and so, because sometimes if you are unsure of how, just because you think, well, this is not how this is done, I think I should read more or see more. That doesn't work very well. You need to do it, then go over all the process all over again and to do stuff.
Yes.
Sure, it's not the way it's done. You have to do something.
I doubt if you aren't embarrassed by your first product or the thing you launch, then you waited too long.
Repeat that?
There's a quote by the founder from LinkedIn who said that if you waited too long to launch your product, There's a quote from the founder of LinkedIn who said that if you waited too long to launch your product... the founder from LinkedIn who said that if you aren't embarrassed when you launch your product, you waited too long.
That doesn't mean you can release the first thing that you pop out.
It will go right past you. As we said earlier, it was one of those things that if you don't do it now, through taking no action, you'll regret it. And so, similar idea could be, or gameplay footage, to get things out there now. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it doesn't, if it's not. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect. They see it for what it is, and they can either think it's great or magnificent or not.
Well, I think we released everything too early, but too early in the meaning that we didn't wait too long to release it. Like the gameplay, it has a lot of problems, a lot of things that.
Release them as soon as we could, really, because we've been working quite hard and something at least finished, even if it was not perfect, which it isn't. But at least we could. It's showable.
The deaths that you see in the gameplay were done in 1 day. In 1 day, it was made in 1 day, so it's really rushed.
Very rushed, and
so it's not
final game.
No, of course.
That's understandable.
It's what we had to work with.
And we wanted to show the gameplay. We wanted to show something. The trailer was very cinematic. It didn't show what the game really was. There was people asking, static images. It was like, no. So we knew we needed a gameplay.
We wanted to show something,
so people know what's going off.
Yeah.
Speaking of problems, what game is coming together? And it went from pen and paper to PC.
I think asking about before beginning development or already in development?
The hours you put into the game coming together and starting to bear fruit.
I think
it was once that was the first. We made a very early video that it's not online. We made it just and the character could move around. It was the character that comes by default with Unreal Engine.
We called him.
We called him Roller Jesus because it was
like Jesus on roller skates.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. For the house,
we made a very short video of him moving around the house and. With the cameras and close friends, and I think that's when I realized we're doing it. It's very, I don't know, disgusting to see it, but it's something. It's around that it's something, and
open doors with your mind.
Because we're open automatically when you.
Another moment was when we finished our gameplay video. We say, hey. This was in-game footage, even if, so to speak, we, for example, don't have a procedural generation of events yet. It was scripted.
And in the game, it will be procedural. It could happen in any door. But
for that gameplay, when we finished it, we said, "Holy shit, man! This has made a giant."
We started to think, well, this is starting to look like a game, like a real game, like that's not so long ago. It's like
about 2 months.
2 months, yeah.
Doesn't it feel even more amazing that you've gone past that and you've you're always improving and always getting better and getting closer to the release date?
Yes, faster, and we're gaining confidence in ourselves.
Yeah,
we were like trailblazers, and we were not yet confident about. Can we do this, or are we?
I think that we didn't even know if we were going to be capable of doing. Like, can we make this happen?
Yeah,
and now I think everything that's ahead. There are some some things that are
the hardest part.
the hardest parts. I think we
for newbies are, I think, of course, but we now know that we can overcome them.
And for you, that is self-improvement and getting better. And the game looks very good, especially for 3-4 people. Nice, looks very clean, crisp, and
Thank you.
almost professional-like. But it's still a long way to go, no doubt. And you can, no doubt, and you've really nailed the atmosphere, I think.
Thank you. We actually have always wanted to make this horror story a good. Many survival horror titles, but we wanted to focus more on the horror part of it.
Yeah.
The survival, of course, but to make horror prevalent, even to survival.
And speaking of prevalent, what was the...
there are also a lot of things that I think keeping the mood up, like
being a bit like a roller coaster sometimes. As I guess it's inevitable, but at least we've had each other and rented an office for that, and I think it's been invaluable to keeping our moods high, because if one is down or insecure, then the others can cheer him up, and he can look up to the others that might be in a good mood and push him forward, and then, copy the one of us who's best at that day.
Yeah,
always that mood and that personality, and you reflect it and bounce it back at them, so it's always perpetual, ever more positive, because doubt,
For
you
example,
see...
Some days
Yes, for
I'm
example.
and then Nathan's saying, "Hey, let's do this. Hey," and then I call myself and I, look. Well, vice versa is also true. Sometimes Nathan is down and saying, "How fuck this shit," I don't know, and I say, "Hey man, let's go."
So keeping that, what was the happiest moment while working on the game?
I think we sort of finished working on the event. When I finished it, I said, "Hey man, this I got this," And when we moment so far, and for example, Ignacio has another one.
Well, I don't know. I have quite a few. I think it was when I saw the cameras, the mobile cameras, moving, what I wanted, and he did it exactly as I imagined, and make it exactly the way I wanted. Also, when I saw the first actor walking around and opening doors, excited about the game.
Yeah, everything's coming together nicely and beautifully. So tell me, what book, lecture, or resource that you know of that you can recommend?
YouTube.
YouTube?
Indeed. Selfless people. Making tutorials and putting them on YouTube and explaining things. I mean, we come from. It would have been impossible for us to make this game without the help from the community.
Bad videos that doesn't explain much or are very incomplete, but there are also very good, that make really good tutorials for free, in exchange of nothing, and that's, I think, it's been really helpful.
Yeah, selfless people that they should know that they were.
Yeah, YouTube's helped a lot with me as well. So, as a new studio, what was whether this was software license, hardware or equipment, or could simply be a comfy chair and a good desk?
Well, I think the purchase, we rented it, but the office it's, I don't know, I think it's vital for us.
Cheer ourselves up, and it makes us much better than we would be apart from each other.
The best way we spend the money so far. It's like
we're born because someone some one of us had an idea, then others, oh, that's cool, but what if we change this? And then it starts, adding up, and in the end we can do without having user feedback.
It's like sometimes I finish something and I say, hey, come, look at this. I think only is possible if you work in the same place, because if not, you cannot keep. That's fast, but being in the same place is faster, and it's really helpful.
And on top of that, you're in that area with.
It's like also like when you pay for the gym. It's like you're paying it, so like
Yes.
you go there, and when you are there, it's like, well, I'm here, I should be working, and this, but you can always get distracted with, I don't know, whatever, and
speaking of work, are there useful or productivity enhancing software, app, or extension worth sharing?
not real. Bored with posits. We're more classical.
Yeah.
All right.
I could recommend a tool called Deagle. It's and even it has a contextual plugin that you can highlight things on the web databases, and I think it's very handy. We've used them to store, and I think it's pretty cool. But apart from the development software, even a bit classical or or just too loaded to may even be much better than what we're doing now, but we just don't have time to think about them.
Even Deagle, was it?
Deagle, yeah, with double I.
How do you spell it?
D-double-I.
Very nice. Okay. And lastly, if you were in an identical world where your skills are the same, and a laptop, how would you make the game again?
I don't think it could be made by David, our artist, who is here.
Right.
Try buying him a bag of peanuts, but I think he will throw it in our face. So I don't think with 500.
Oh yeah, exactly. I get you. So you'd have to seriously scale down the operation and use YouTube a lot more.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Maybe we will die and our children will release it.
Going down, yeah. Wow. But apart from everything like that, Carlos and Nathaniel, that's all we have time for in this episode. It was a great interview.
Yeah, thank you. It was very nice talking to you too.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Daily Dev Talk with me, Adrian Nantchev. And to share your experiences and stories, then contact me at info@gameoverload.co.uk. That's info@gameoverload.co.uk.